Hello, it's Father Joshua here with this week's assembly. I hope you're all doing really well, whether you're at home or whether you're in school. Now, thinking back to last week, I wonder, how did you do with helpfulness since then? Have you been doing things to help other people like St. Stephen did? Well, today we're going to be talking about generosity, which is our other theme this half term. And we looked a bit about it 2 weeks ago when we looked at the story of the 3 wise men and their generosity. So, first of all, I've got a couple of questions for you. Which of these is more generous? I'm going to show you a couple of pairs of examples and I want you to decide which of them is being more generous. So if you're in school with your class, put your hand up for the one you think's more generous. If you're at home, decide who it is with the people you're watching with. Okay, here goes. Okay, so our first pair. There's a homemade cake stall happening at school today for charity. And Tom asks for some money to take in, and his mum gives him £20 to spend on cakes for charity. Okay, that's the first one. Second one, here's Jess. She's earned some money, some pocket money, by doing the washing up each day at home, and she's saved £5 of that money, which she brings in to spend at the cake stall. Okay, which of these is more generous? If you're just at home, decide amongst yourselves, and if you're at school, put your hand up. So, hands up for Tom. Okay, and put your hand up for Jess. Okay, well it's Jess because Jess brought in her own money that she had worked for to give to charity in the cake stall, while Tom had just asked for the money, and although he had more money, he gave more money to it, it wasn't money that he had earned, so it wasn't coming from his heart. Okay, next pair. This is Jeff Bezos. He's the richest man in the world with 181 billion. And that's 181 with 9 zeros. Now his friend Jack is doing a sponsored run. So Jeff decided to sponsor him £500. And Jack's other friend, Amy, she's older and she only has her pension, which isn't very much. And she sponsors Jack £20. So which of them is more generous? Let's see. Hands up for Jeff. And hands up for Amy. That's right, it's Amy. Amy's the generous one because Jeff, if he gives £500, he's so rich that he's not going to even notice that much money. Whereas Amy, for Amy, £20 is quite a lot. That's quite a bit of the money she has. So she is giving from the heart, whereas Jeff is just giving his leftovers, his loose change almost. Now Jesus saw something like this happen in the Bible. Jesus was sitting down outside the temple watching people give money. He saw lots of rich people giving large amounts of money. And then he saw a widow come and put in a few small coins. Jesus turned to those who were with him and he said, "That widow has put in more money than all the rest because they gave money from their leftover wealth, but she has put in all she has." So when we talk about our value of generosity, it's important to remember, bigger isn't always better. What's even more important than what we give is the spirit in which we give it. The widow that Jesus saw, like Amy and like Jess, she was more generous because she was giving from her heart, whereas the other people gave their leftover money. When we talked about generosity 2 weeks ago with the wise men, we said that sometimes the most generous gift of all is the gift of our love. True generosity is always done from love, not because we want something done in return. I'll give you this because it means you'll give me that, or because it's going to make us look good if people see us being generous and they'll say, oh look, Father Joshua, he's being quite generous, I like him. That's not generosity. Generosity is something we do because we want to, because we think it's important, because we care. And we can be generous with all sorts of things. Perhaps we can be generous with our time by doing jobs at home, or by letting our brothers and sisters share our toys, or by being extra kind to someone. So I've got an activity for you to do now, and you can either do it now or at another time. We're going to make our own checks. And on those checks, we're going to say the generous things we're going to do. So parents and teachers, there's a template in the folder with this video, or you can have a go at making your own. And we're going to fill it in as a kind of promise to someone to be generous. That's what a check is, a promise note. I've filled out mine here, you can see. I'm promising Leah, my wife, that I'm going to be generous by making lots of really nice meals in the evening after she finishes work. So you have a go at yours. You can either do it now or later. If you do it now, instead of closing this down, pause the video and come back later after you've done your check and we'll finish off the activity together. So I'm going to finish with a prayer and then we're going to have our song again. I wonder how you're doing at learning it. So let's be quiet for a moment. Father God, thank you for the example of generosity Jesus showed us in the widow's offering. Help us to be generous, to give not from our leftover, from our heart. Amen. All right, it's been lovely being with you, and I'll be back very soon with our next assembly. Let's finish with our song. Bye-bye. I'm gonna make a difference, make a big fat fluffy difference, make a big fat fluffy difference in the world. I'm gonna use my talents, I'm gonna overcome every challenge, make a big fat fluffy difference in the world. God's given us lots and lots of things, so we can really shout and sing, and do our best to help somebody else. Jesus gave his all, and then he gave a call. Let's all make a difference in the world. I'm gonna make a difference, make a big fat fluffy difference, make a big fat fluffy difference in the world. I'm gonna use my talents, gonna overcome every challenge, make a big fat fluffy difference in the world. Some people are so funny, they make bucket loads of money, and all they do is spend it on themselves. Others are quite strange, they throw life down the drain, they don't try to make a difference in the world. I'm gonna make a difference, make a big fat fluffy difference, make a big fat fluffy difference in the world. I'm gonna use my talents, gonna overcome every challenge, make a big fat fluffy difference in the world. I'm gonna make a difference, make a big fat fluffy difference, make a big fat fluffy difference in the world. I'm gonna use my talents, I'm gonna overcome every challenge, and make a big fat fluffy difference in the world. I'm gonna use my talents. I'm gonna overcome every challenge.